So from PGCE, I've had to there's a lot more responsibility now. You've got to plan a lot more lessons and kind of explain what you're doing, and rather than just 1 hour set lessons, so you've got to plan quite a lot more, and I feel that independence as well in your NQT year has increased. In terms of what we've been doing across curricular themes in the faculty this year, we've been looking at all of the expressive art teachers teaching different subject disciplines, even though they're still in the expressive arts. So I've had to teach drama, music and art. But when it's come to the planning part, what we've sat down as a faculty, we've explained then to each other and just given our expertise then to our colleagues who might not teach those subjects or be more confident in teaching them. So I've had singing lessons, drama lessons that I've had to take part in, just so I can then have an understanding on how I can teach the children and the students in my class. Or in university and school, and other teachers might not have experienced that. So I've had to learn back to basics on how to kind of teach and learn art. And it's the same with music and drama, so I've had to kind of understand how they've taught me from basics, because we're starting with year 7, so we want them to build that confidence from the first kind of stage before they go on to year 8, year 9, when it gets a bit more critical for them in the lessons. I think when I first started doing, when we started this curriculum for Wales design, I felt really, really nervous, especially for music, because it's not just going to be listening to songs and analysing the notes and how the music is. It's more actual practical work, which I was really nervous for. And the confidence, I think the first lesson, all the teachers in the staff room were all discussing how nervous we were. But once we started teaching, I think it's really important as the teacher that we have the confidence, because if they see that I'm feeling a bit nervous or, to teach the lesson. So as soon as I started that first singing lesson, I think they could see a little bit, but I slowly started to warm up to it and just start. I think that first lesson definitely did help. Just to get a little taster into the lesson and the subject. So what I like to do is have a look through their books. I think that really helps, especially because now in your NQT you have loads of different classes and they all work really differently, individuals. So I like to look through the books, and depending on if they have reached those success criteria and the learning objectives, and I can see that evident in their book that they have understood that, I will then kind of change the way of learning and teaching that I do usually to suit and tailor that class. So there's been, with one of my year 9 classes, for example, there's a mixture of high ability and low ability in that class, and to kind of structure and differentiate that class. I've changed the seating plan around a little bit. It's those simple things that I found that really did help in my NQT year. So just sitting maybe a maths student next to someone who's not so confident in art. And another thing I did find out in my NQT year is, although they might be high achieving students across all the other subjects in school, I find it very it's been interesting, because in art and in the practical subjects, that's where they have the least confidence. So I try to put them then sat next to someone who just can help each other then and kind of lead each other's learning, and they can bounce off each other and understand how and what to do, that's all. I did originally have some concerns, obviously if you're not trained in that specific subject, and even as an individual I felt really stressed to the fact that maybe I'm not good enough to teach music or drama to year 9, 8 and 7, for example. But when we've reviewed then our first kind of scheme of work for Matilda, we sat down, we had a look at what we've all done and QA'd our books. It was evident that although we aren't, trained in that subject, we can teach them, and just having little points throughout the term to have meetings on what we've done and just touch base to see if we are doing things right, and that's been really helpful for me, especially on the confident factor. And in the end, with music and drama, we've been able to just see that final result. So if when I've been looking at the other classes, the teacher who is the music teacher, for example, I can see then my class is doing similar. So that gives me then the confidence that maybe I can, I have done the correct thing.
And from the other perspective, how have you felt about the work produced in art by the teachers who've been
That has been really interesting. I was really, really surprised. So there's different keywords, different terms that they need to learn. So even blending, things like that, they might not do it in their other subjects. They learn these kind of small steps in art. And it's been really nice to see that in their books as we've been QAing them. It's been really good. So yeah, I feel like art subjects, they're getting those keywords, they're getting the words and the main kind of factors into their lessons, so they're understanding them, so they're not missing anything out.